Hey, my name is Rios. You probably don't know me, but hopefully after this video, you will. This is a story how I went from living in Section 8 housing to becoming a self-made millionaire at 21 years old, to now a multi-millionaire at 23. But the truth is, it wasn't always this easy. It took a lot of pain, a lot of effort, and a lot of sacrifice to make it this far. But just so you understand, let's run it back all the way from the beginning. All right. I grew up in the middle of downtown LA. I was born and raised in LA. Life here was pretty hard, but also I can't sit here and complain. People had it worse, but I was surrounded by a lot of homelessness. Everywhere I would go, every corner, there was always a homeless person in every single corner, or a drug addict in every corner. Where I come from, you learn more about drugs and fighting and alcohol more than you do in school, because a lot of people like to copy what they see in the streets or what they see from the people in their apartment buildings, stuff like that. So I guess growing up here, I would say, well, it's different for everyone. So for me personally, I would say it was hard, but it wasn't impossible. The one thing I always give my mom is she's always raised the house with love and made us feel like money wasn't the core of our problems. Because for most people, money and family is the core of their problems. But for me, it was simply just money. My mom had sacrificed the world growing up. She actually went to college. So I always had the good example in my house because she was going to college. She would take me to childcare with her at her college when I was like 3, 4, 5, 6 years old. Growing up to like 15 years old, my whole life was dedicated to sports. I'd play basketball and I'd play soccer. And I was never really into the entrepreneurship stuff until after 15 years old, when my dad left. I was forced to find another way to make money to be able to support the household. Honestly, my goal was to become a professional soccer player. I was offered to play for LA Galaxy. I was offered to go to a training camp in Barcelona. And I was offered to play for Chicago Fire's youth club. I was actually unexpectedly really good at soccer until money became tight. It got to a point where I was invited to so many camps. I just never got a full-on scholarship where they can pay for my housing, they can pay for my flights, they can pay for my food, and this was overseas. So I never was able to get the opportunity to play overseas or to continue my soccer career because of money. As soon as you get older, I was under government assistance. I knew that once I turned 18, food stamps would stop, government assistance would be limited. Because I was 18, I was considered an adult. So I knew that by the time I turned 18, I either had to work a job or continue going to school and let fast food do its thing. Because I understood that when I got into fast food, that the government was investing in the youth to be able to pursue a college education. So after college, either you would be debt-free or you'd have a small amount of debt, where a job can help you live your life and you can maximize your earnings through your degree. But for me personally, I always knew that school wasn't for me. All my teachers would say I would fail. All my teachers said that I was full of shit, that I was lazy, that I wasn't disciplined. I graduated high school with a 2.1 GPA. It should have been a 1.9. I was cool with my teacher, so I had to run a couple favors for my teacher, and he passed me. So I was that kid who I guess everybody didn't believe in, and I surprisingly graduated. So there was not really much hope for me to continue school. And if I'm being honest, I didn't really have much faith in myself either to pursue school, because I knew I was lazy. I knew I wasn't disciplined, and I didn't really like school. So my goal after high school was to build a business to be able to live off of, to support me and my family, obviously. The one job I had was working at Subway. But the only reason why I worked at Subway was only because I needed money to start my reselling business. Keep in mind, I failed like 3 businesses before that. And I was like, fuck it. Reselling has to be the way because it's the easiest thing to do. I don't have to build a brand. I don't have to fucking market. I don't have to build a website. I don't have to run paid ads, right? So reselling was the easiest thing for me to do at the time. And it was the only thing I knew how to do after so many failed business models. Because so many people made videos about it. It was like the next most popular business model to start as a high schooler. And that's the one I went to. I was like, how could you fail? So that was the only reason why I got into a job at Subway, because my mind after 15, 16, 17 was make a business. I've tried drop shipping, I've tried stock trading, I've tried reselling, and I failed at all of them. But with reselling, the failure led me to success. So with drop shipping and stock trading, I lost about $2,000. So when I tried Supreme, I realized I was reselling the wrong things. I didn't fail at reselling. I failed at reselling Supreme. But reselling is a big, it's a skill. So because it's a skill, there's different sub skills that you can attach to reselling that allow you to maximize your ROI on that specific sub skill. So an example, your skills reselling. So if Supreme is part of that skill set, then you're gonna stick to Supreme because you're good at Supreme. But if you're good at reselling kitchen appliances or hardware or flooring or etc., there's a lot of things I resell. So I was just in the wrong market. So by choosing the right market, I was able to 10x my progress. When I would successfully resell things and make money, I wouldn't tell myself, yes, this is gonna make me a millionaire. The thing with reselling was that, reselling specific products was that there's this thing called if they're replenishable, right? So which means that you can get consistent amount of this product. So when I was reselling Supreme wasn't replenishable. They would sell out and then that was it. You made your money, you can't go back and go get more. So you have to choose the right product to make it replenishable. But even then, the process of finding the right product was very tiresome. How I really felt like my first taste of success, which gave me a fresh hit of belief that made it replenishable, was teaching others how to do the same. So I made a business all around teaching people how to make money online and using the same secrets that I did. So, and by doing so, I had a lot of customers along with my business, which gave me stability and foundation, gave me the core belief that if I can do it, I can teach others how to do it. This is a skill set that is in demand that I feel will never go out of style because business is built around reselling.
What was the story of between starting reselling, getting a little bit of success and teaching people? What was the success in the middle that you got? Yeah.
The success in the middle was making my first 7 figures on Amazon. But the bad thing that nobody tells you, which no other guru will tell you, is that even if you make your first 7 figures on Amazon, majority of people are running on 10 to 20% margins max. When people say I made $1 million, I just said it right now, I made $1 million. That was revenue, that was top line. But in reality, I was only $100,000 to $200,000 in profit. So the downside there was, yeah, I made $1 million in revenue. No one's ever touched $1 million in their life where I come from. But the upside was that my model came with a twist. So my model became where I started to people how to do specifically price errors. So in case nobody knows what price errors is when a retailer mistakenly lists the incorrect price on a listing. So let's say an example, an iPhone. $700 iPhone was listed for $49. So that's a $650 discount, right? There's guaranteed margins in that. If you were to go the traditional route in terms of reselling Amazon products, talking about for every $10 or $100, you only make $10, $20 on top. But if you were to go the other route, which is the price error route, you're able to make more money in less time. And that's exactly what I was teaching other people how to do. I was able to find ways to get name brand items for up to 99% off because there were price errors. They were mistakenly being priced on multiple websites, over 1,000 websites. So all I had to do was just find the product, buy the product, and sell it, and I would sell it for 90 to 150% margins, right? And that's how I started making my money, and I made a business, and I'll teach people how to do that specific thing. From there, I just had to reevaluate my options because when I ran my business, my Amazon business to 7 figures, I was on 10 to 20% margins. When I started running my business based on price errors, where I was buying the price errors myself, I would only do 300K top line a year, but my margins were the same, $100,000 to $200,000. So I was doing less work and spending less money buying price errors, but making the same amount of money if I was doing a full-time 7-figure Amazon business. And then it came again when I was making a group where I was teaching people, or community, I was making a community where I was teaching people how to do the exact same thing. So I had to reevaluate my options and tell myself which is the vehicle that's going to get me from point A to point B, the fastest, which was price errors and paid communities. And that's exactly how I just kept doing it for 2, 3, 4, 5 years now. And I built services and tools around that. Well, to every major like business, fake gurus and like competition is always going to be an issue, right? People copy whatever you do. People try to take credit. People try to lie on your name. People try to like accuse you of things you've never done to just bash your name, right? That's like, I wouldn't say it's normal or like normalized, but I would say that like every business to a degree goes through that. But for me, actually, the hardest part was a little bit more personal. The hardest part for me was that, again, I grew up in Section 8. I grew up in like a very low income neighborhood. So flashing my lifestyle or like buying things that were expensive lets other people know who may not be greedy, but they're envious, know that you're either on a come up or you have something that they can take, right? This can come between family and friends or friends of friends that you don't even know, etc. And then you start realizing that when you start going up in your journey, when you start making a lot more money, that things around you change, and it's not because of you, it's because of them. And like, this sounds like very egotistical and like very selfish, but to anybody who has made a large amount of money, the money doesn't change you, it changes people around you, which force you to change, right? It sounds like very selfish, but I'll put it this way. If you made $1 million today, if your mom and your sisters, etc., all realize it, will they ask for more? Of course, they're your family. Are you gonna give it to them? You might say no because you're selfish. Okay, that's fine. But if you say yes, then other people are gonna say, hey, like, I see that you did this, put me on, or they'll ask for opportunities, or they'll start looking at things that you have and the vibe just starts changing. So I guess for me, my biggest downfall through that was that over a large repetition of my life, when I was making money, I was trying to be very discreet. But it got to a point where I couldn't be discreet because when you have a lot of money, of course you want to spend it. So I was very financially dumb. So when I was financially dumb, I would spend it on yachts, boats, traveling, like first class, or like buying like a whole table at clubs. My friends started treating me differently. My family started treating me differently. I started realizing that people would only want to talk to me because it was through benefits, not because it was genuine. For me personally, I'm like somebody who, like, despite being poor and being rich, whatever you want to call it, I don't like changing. I want to treat everyone the same. I don't care if you're a celebrity. I don't care if you're homeless. I will treat you both the exact same. Because I have a very delusional way of thinking, which is whatever you can do, I can do. And I want to be better than you at it. And I will try my best to do whatever I have to do to be better than you at it. So if you're Kim Kardashian and you want to go into modeling and I want to do modeling, I'm going to tell myself, I want to be better than you. And I'm going to do everything I can to be better than you. But I'm not going to see it as a way that I need to kiss ass and tell you or kiss your ass because I want to take something from you. It's just not me. I'm not kiss ass. And for those of you who know me, you guys know that I don't like kissing ass. I'd rather thug it out and like find my own way and carve my own path. And throughout my entire career, that's how it's been. So seeing other people fold on me and want to use me, knowing that I wouldn't use them like that, was like a stab in the back. And I've had multiple falls with multiple people. So the real degrading part here was that over like the entire course of like 1 to 2, 3 years during my come up with making money, people around me have changed. So I had to be very selective with choosing who I share my winnings with, or how I share the wealth, or how I create opportunities for others. Because it was very, very degrading to my morale and very degrading to my ego if I would do something good for somebody, but then they would go and talk behind me and it would ruin my grind and my passion. So I ended up losing my sense of purpose. I made a lot of money. I lost a lot of friends in the process while I was genuinely trying to do the right thing. And I lost my purpose. So I learned the hard way that throughout the entire thing, I didn't have many friends. I lost my family, even though I didn't want that to happen. And like I tried to treat everyone with respect. And I've tried to conserve my wealth in order for me to be able to live the life that I once lived, which is when I was broke, I was the happiest. I was the happiest because I didn't need money. I just needed a ball. I needed sports. I needed my parents. And that's all I ever wanted. So now that I had everything, it felt like I had nothing. And I truly understood what it felt to be rich but lonely and unhappy. So throughout the next year or two of my life, I ended up realizing how truly meaningful it is to have people you care about, have people that support you, and people who have a genuine sense of purpose in their life, who genuinely want help, and they want help for themselves, not for themselves, they want help for the people that they love. Because it reminds me of me. It reminds me of people who don't have a path, people who never had courage, or people who have the same group of friends or the same limited beliefs that I had, that there's a way out. So everything in my life has been built on that sole purpose. I will be honest, in the beginning, of course, it was for the money, but I fell into the mindset of where I lost my purpose. And then my purpose was to chase the money. So when I chased the money and I touched it, I lost my purpose. So throughout the next year and a half, I've rebuilt the course. I've changed the teachings in the course because I found a new sense of purpose. So I'm not here to lie to anyone. Everyone in this game is doing it for the money. Everyone is doing it for their ego and their pride. I'm doing it for not only the money. The money was motivating at first, but I already have it. I'm now doing it with a sense of purpose. So I guess now I've revamped my entire course to teach people what I wish to be taught when I was in Section 8, to teach people that envy and greed doesn't have to exist when the same opportunities exist for you. Because envy and greed are only present when you believe that you don't have the same opportunity or the same resources that somebody else does. But what if you did? Everyone does. And that's exactly what my course brings. I would speak to the homeless. I would speak to my own friends. I would try to motivate my friends. And there was conversations with my own friends that didn't have the ambition or didn't have the drive, but they were miserable. So I guess talking to so many people, understanding that everyone thinks differently, everybody comes from different backgrounds, and maybe not everybody has the same resources, which is perfectly fine. My course is for anybody who truly believes that they don't need anything besides themselves to get started. That's truly all you need. As long as you have a brain, a phone, and a will, you can do anything with the course that I made. Because this teaches you how to start from absolute scratch the same way that I did. Because I never wanted to be the person where I felt like I needed anything from somebody. I hated that. And I'm sure many of you hate it when people throw things in your face. People feel like you need them. I hated that. So I worked very hard to find everything myself, to learn everything myself, so I don't need anybody else again. So I guess right now, this is like, you can cut this out if it's like too like honest. My reason for doing this is to prove to everyone that I can do anything that I want. And what I want to do is I want to provide the best, highest quality education for anybody who genuinely wants to make it out. And I mean anyone who wants to make it out, not people who just sit there and want to mentally masturbate and say, yeah, I want to make it out, but as soon as they come in, they're like, this is too much. Of course it's too much. You know, you can handle the pressure. If you can handle the pressure, this course is for you. If you can't handle the pressure, you're going to cave and you're going to be miserable. And this goes for everyone. Life has been a full cycle. What people don't understand is that, every experience will shape you or break you. And I've had a lot of ones that have broken me, but because of my will, I've been able to come back. And when I first had my money, I was selfish. I would spend on myself or on dates or on trips or my friends, but it was never my family. And it got to a point where it was so self-degrading seeing my mom. She's been everything to me, and I couldn't sit there. And of course, I'd buy her stuff, but I was giving a better experience for the girls or the boys just because I want to flex it on Instagram and have people validate me. So I chose validation, which a lot of people struggle with, over my family. So when the whole thing happened, because again, like the money started showing, I personally changed my entire philosophy on money, and I want to genuinely create generational wealth. So my mom didn't do all she did to come here just to have a piece of shit son who didn't do anything to either help the family long term or help sisters. I'm the only man in my family because my dad left. It was very degrading. So the change for me was to build generational wealth, to get actually knowledgeable in terms of how to build generational wealth, and to go through complete trial and error, fail myself, even if it meant to lose money, so I can build that life for my family. Which now, fast forward to now, I own multiple properties. I own my own house. I'm only 23 years old, and I own multiple seven-figure businesses. So that changed my entire philosophy on money. Like the meaning of life, I think it's very independent thinking. So for example, my meaning of life and the person watching this video's meaning of life, we may have two different responses because all based on your background and your experience, right? So because of me, I feel like my version of life is genuinely seek peace, seek happiness, and then find purpose. Those are 3 things that you need to genuinely live a fulfilling life. You don't need the money. And you don't need this. It's great to have it, 100%, right? It buys you freedom and time, all this bullshit. But before the money comes, if you pursue it with passion and you pursue it with peace and happiness, if you try, then it's just gonna be a lot easier to continue with your journey and make those $10, $40 million that you want. My plan, honestly, is I fell into this mindset where I want to use my money to help people. And I want to use my skill set to help people, because I feel like everything I've learned and everything I've seen it done in Hollywood, I've seen it done in politics, I've seen it done in economics. So I feel like for me, the next thing that I truly want to do is just teach people, I guess, the things that I've learned that they can use to make more money. And whether it's for free, I don't really give a fuck. I just want to put out my knowledge to the world and tell people exactly everything that they've been taught is a lie. And I want to be the person to break it. Legacy means something to different people. Like, I think personally, my own opinion is legacy only means something to you for ego and pride, right? Like, you want a legacy because you want people to speak highly of you. You want people to be proud of you for generations long. But if we're going to be completely logical about it, unless you're not fucking doing $1 billion company where you're changing the entire fate of your family, for generation bloodline type shit. Like an NBA player who builds generational wealth off fucking one $500 million contract, then legacy is just for ego, they're gonna forget about you 1 to 2 generations. If you're gonna do it, I recommend doing it for love and purpose. You want your family to be good after you. You want to make sure that you teach your kids and your wife good morals and good discipline and good knowledge that they can use to leverage whatever you left them to make even more money. Because if you're doing it for legacy, you're doing it for just pure ego, not for love. There's no love in the game. There's no love for your children, you can leave legacy when you give them skills and you give them discipline or teach them discipline. You can leave a legacy through that, but that's not out of ego, it's out of passion. There's a lot, honestly, but I guess the most meaningful to me that I think, because I've seen it happen many, many times, is seek purpose. Purpose is going to be your number 1 friend no matter what happens. Even if you lose your family and your friends, if you still have purpose, you will still see light at the end of the tunnel and keep pushing forward. You can lose $1 million if you wanted to. Well, not even if you want to, but if it came down to it, you can lose all your money. But if you have a sense of purpose, it'll sting less. It'll still sting, but you'll still give life another try because you have purpose. And this goes for anyone. If you mix business with purpose, it's gonna be a lot easier to chase your business. If you mix purpose with family, it's a lot easier to provide for your family. If you mix purpose with money, then it's gonna be a lot easier to chase the money. If you mix purpose with women and validation, it'll be easier to get those things because you seek purpose in them. So my thing is find purpose no matter how old you are. If you're old and you have kids, find purpose in your kids. Find purpose in providing them a good life. Find purpose in their kids or their woman or etc. If you're young and you're 12 and you're watching this video and you have parents, find purpose in your parents. Find purpose in wanting to provide them a good life. Find purpose in wanting to give your own kids, even though they're non-existent, a good life. There's many ways you can find purpose. It all depends on the type of person you really are and what you really want. Yeah.
Fair enough. I think that's about it.
That's it?
Yeah.
Oh. That's good?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's good.